Hello YouTube, and welcome. So I was one of the lucky ones invited to try the BF5 closed alpha, and this is my feedback. So my first impressions were a little shaky. I'm guessing, and hoping, that performance I got was not indicative of the final game, either from the servers or the client. With the graphical settings I was running, I was only managing around 50 FPS, when on Battlefield 1, which I see very little graphical difference, I averaged around 120 FPS. I learned to live with these problems, however, as they should be improved significantly before launch. The first thing you notice is the change in gunplay. Right away, the necessary skill to hit and drop an enemy compared to BF1 is significant, and I would go so far to say that it may even take more skill than BF4. That said, 50 FPS and lag didn't really help in assessing that. For me, the gunplay felt very good and very refreshing, and I liked the time to kill. Recoil felt a little random sometimes, in the sense that occasionally I would have firefights against an enemy, where I felt we saw and engaged at the same time, and I died extremely fast, even though I seemed to be shooting very well. Again, server issues and low FPS could be to blame for a lot of troubles I had. I also really liked Attrition. I think it's a great addition and a nice compromise between the hardcore BF of old and the standard regen of the last couple of games. I even liked the very low starting ammo, and the fact that often it was better to get some extra ammo before entering combat fully. The only thing was, I didn't really see it cutting down on the amount of rear camping snipers, as they would camp far enough back to be near an ammo point. But as they say, there's no cure for stupid. I think Attrition works very well for the vehicles as well. I did see rear camping vehicles, but the time it takes for a tank to get back and resupply is significantly higher than infantry. I like the removal of 3D spotting, however I noticed very little difference because almost no one spots in other BF titles. Unless I'm playing with people I know, 3D spotting basically doesn't exist in the Battlefield series anyway. Ironically, I think I may have really enjoyed 3D spotting in Battlefield 5, particularly because overall visibility is so poor. I'm glad that friendly fire wasn't enabled, because half the time I had no idea if I was shooting my team or the enemy. In the end, because of attrition, I often had to wait before firing. I get the bells and whistles approach to the map and the smoke and the explosions, I really do, but my god is it hard to see what's going on most of the time. Add to that the problems with the interiors of buildings being like mini black holes where light gets sucked in and can never escape. I did find it very frustrating finding and identifying targets. I also felt like some of the effects seemed a little one-sided. I lost count of the amount of times all I could see was thick black smoke and someone on the other side would accurately drop me. And I'd like to clarify that I can tell the difference between suppressive and accurate fire, and this was aimed fire hitting first time. Now again, this could have been down to client-server problems, where the smoke had stayed on my screen longer than the enemy's, and as long as this is a pre-release problem I can look past it. Two things that pleased me greatly were the massive reduction in grenade spam and an end to the absolute air dominance of fighters and bombers. BF1 at times felt like a looking at a grenade is near you icon simulator, with them constantly raining down from infantry and OP pilots. I really like the balance in BF5. I think grenades should still take a little longer to throw, but the increase from Battlefield 1 is welcomed. And if those pesky impact grenades make a reappearance, I think they'll need to be well balanced. I liked the fact that a squad working with fighters and bombers could still be devastating enough to make them viable, without there being too much of an ability to be a lone wolf who was simply stat padding and not really contributing. One annoying bit of spam that has returned with a vengeance is AD spam. This had somewhat been addressed in BF1, although not as much as I'd like, but in Battlefield 5 its advantages far outweigh its disadvantages, and the speed at which it's possible to change direction is not good. I much prefer slower strafing with proper acceleration and deceleration. Let's keep river dance out of Battlefield, please. I had some mixed feelings about the downstate. I liked the fact that you were unable to skip, but sometimes I really wanted to stop friendly medics getting killed coming to me, and I couldn't. I think this is more of a teething problem, because people should start getting used to being more careful. That said, a button that visibly changed your downstate to indicate that you aren't safe would be a welcome addition. I found the X-axis only rotation really weird and unnecessary. Why oh why can we only look left and right and not up and down? Gun and class balance seemed fairly good to me. Perhaps not quite as rock paper scissors as it could be, but with the limited number of weapons and gadgets we got to use, I'll reserve judgment. I still, as with other titles, feel that most of the time medic is still the best class, and I'm not sure that's a great thing. I also felt that support is still the run to the litter and needs some more love. Another thing I found really weird was the new medic pouch versus medic box. Unless I'm missing something, why would you ever not run the pouch? You don't need to press E to pick it up, and it comes back so fast. I really think there should be a bigger difference. You should get a much greater reward for having to go to the trouble of interacting with the box, or vice versa. Maybe the pouches shouldn't revive you to 100%, maybe only 75 or 50%. I didn't get a chance to play as a squad on VoIP or Discord, so I can't really judge that side of things. I've seen a lot of feedback about HUD compasses or ribbon, and I think this would be a great idea. In terms of movement, I still feel soldier movement is a little quick for me, and vehicles still feel very light and slidey, although overall I really like the movement speed of the tanks. Overall, I feel BF5 has bags of potential, and I hope that other than improvements to performance and some minor tweaks, we don't see too many massive changes to the overall mechanics before launch. Don't bow down to the vehicle whores and the filthy casuals, and let's make this the best Battlefield title it can be. See ya, YouTube!
There's some first aid for